this is not to call you out. I think it's an amazing thing. She's an Aquarius.
Yeah. Where is this going?
I think let's do it.
Thank you for joining us for episode 3. Today's episode is about the law of attraction. No, I lied. The spirituality segment of today's episode is about the law of detachment. So, this is going to be a really quick episode. We're just going to break down the practicalities of it and what it is and how to practice it. So,
I would love to know, because I think this is something that probably a lot of people struggle with. Even
I even struggle with it. So I'm saying this, but I'm also, every human struggles with this. But long story short, what the law of detachment is you can own stuff, you can own things, you can own experiences, you can own people to an extent. Know what I mean when I say own people? We're not talking about owning people, but you can have people in your life, you can have experiences, you can have materialistic things, but the law of detachment is making sure that those things do not own you. Long story short, the law of detachment works when you don't let stuff affect your frequency state. Everything around you should be at a medium. Nothing should make you feel sad for the whole day. Nothing should make you move your frequency and move your emotions, because once you start creating negative emotions about an object, a person, an experience, you start blocking your blessings around you. And that's technically what the law of attachment is for. The law of attachment is to
Detachment?
the law of detachment?
Oh.
But did I say attachment? Not attachment, girls. That might be the next episode. The law of detachment is when you make sure you don't have no negative emotions connected to anything around you, so that you can stay on a high frequency and attract the things that you want to attract. I'll give you a really good example for this. You might have 2 guys that you're talking to, right? And this is how I differentiate owning something and letting someone own you. You might have 2 different guys you're talking to. One, you don't really care too much. He's just there. You don't really like him like that, but you guys are just talking. There's another one where you really like, you see a lot of potential in. The one that you don't like can not text you. The one that you really like cannot text you for the whole day. That will not affect your emotions. You might not even realize. And if you do notice, you notice and you move on. Your emotions are not tarnished. You don't create any negative emotions about it. You just move on with your life. It's very careless. Let the one that you really care about, or you are trying to pursue for real, not text you for some type of reason. You might feel some type of way. You might feel a bit, why is he not texting me? Or your emotions might change in that day. That is the difference between owning something and letting someone own you. And I'm using a person as an example, but this applies to everything. Whether it's objects, stuff you buy, experiences you have, and people. The key thing is to be like the first person that I said. You can notice things, because we're human, we notice everything, but not letting that thing change your frequency or change your emotions is the key to the law of detachment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
And I think, so on like a personal level, in terms of like the law of detachment, I think being able to detach from things personally is also good in terms of letting go of things that aren't even meant for you. So like, for example, now, if, let's say there's a guy you like, hypothetically, and, because you like him, you're kind of waiting for whether it's a text message, or you really want it to go somewhere. And
you're putting expectations
you're putting expectations on an outcome. You're kind of, I don't even want to say, not necessarily forcing, but just like, you're so bent on,
you have an expectation.
Yes, I want this thing to happen this way. And it might just be the case that the guy isn't even into you. And I guess being able to exercise law of detachment is also beneficial in scenarios like that where this thing is not even meant for me. Let me detach from this thing as well. Because there's someone out there that does like me and blah, blah, blah.
And I was just using that as an example. I think I was using an example because it's easy to grasp. I think most girls and guys have been in that situation where you might like someone a lot and then you might not like someone that much, and you see the difference in how those things play out, and it's actually the law of detachment that is working there. So I'm just using that as an example. Obviously this applies for every single situation, but I think if someone can recognize that, oh my god, when I wasn't really that, like I didn't really care too much, to when I really did, it's like you're forcing the universe, you're putting an expectation on the universe, and now like blocking your real blessings because you're putting too much expectation on something. The law of detachment is to have no expectations on anything. Nothing can really change your frequency. It's just about you staying in the same emotional state in order for you to attract positive things.
But when you're in the state, so for going off the example you used, when you don't necessarily like the person, you are yourself a lot easier.
You're just more free with it.
Free. You're not attached to like the fear of this might not work out.
You're not attached to the fear of losing that thing.
Yes, of losing the thing. You're not even attached to the outcome.
And that is the real key of the law of detachment, not being attached to the outcome. Like we're using this as an example, but please, this is just a circular example to wrap your head around how it feels to be attached to something and how it feels to be detached to something. But this principle applies to everything in your life. Let it be a job that you had. Let it be an object that you really liked. Like even in I don't even want to say in London because they're stealing phones left, right and centre, and I know how it feels to have your phone stolen. It's actually really sad. So I don't even want to use that as an example and say practice the law of detachment.
No. Don't turn up with the law of detachment when they're
because I know somebody that's watching has got their phone stolen because it's on an all-time high. No, but it's happened to me. It's happened to you.
And it was literally devastating, and I tried to run after the guy. I ran and I didn't even catch him.
It's happened to some of my friends.
Yeah.
And like I can't say like anyway, we're gonna get to the practicalities of stuff like that. But there's experiences where you have stuff that you really like, or you have an experience that you really like, or a friendship group that you really like, or anything, and when you have so much expectation to that situation and you let that situation affect your emotions so dearly, you are not practicing the law of detachment, and nothing positive can really come from that. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying you shouldn't love people or you shouldn't care for people or love things or care for things, but just know that nothing is yours. Nothing in this universe is yours other than you.
Yes. You can only control yourself.
You can only control yourself.
In scenarios, it's really hard to come to terms with, but you can't really control other people. How other people might react.
Or other things.
Yes.
Or other situations.
It's only yourself that you can really take full control of, and you can decide, what you want to do with yourself. But you can't,
literally.
Yeah. When it comes to other people, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And other things. I've used that example, but that's just a single example because I think it'll help people wrap their heads around what it is, the law of detachment, and what is how it looks when it's not and how it is. But put that little example to the side. This is so much bigger. You have to practice it with things, with experiences, with your everyday life.
However, when it comes to more important things, let's say there's a goal you're trying to achieve, or something that holds a bit more weight, you're not just missing a train. How do you practice the law of detachment then? Because people... So the law of detachment is meant to apply to even things like that where it holds a lot more weight.
Okay.
And even so for example, I would say different personalities can navigate law of detachment differently.
Easier or better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even for you personally, how would you...
I'm trying to look at you about looking sideways.
No, I'm just saying because I don't know. When you miss a bus, I think that's an easy thing.
Okay.
What about now the harder things where it's like, okay, there's something you really, really want, and it maybe falls through.
Okay.
How do you practice law of detachment then? Because I would say, this is not to call you out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an amazing thing. She's an Aquarius.
Yeah. Where is this going?
I would say you're very driven, and when you want something, I feel like with your personality type, you would really want that thing to happen. And let's say if it doesn't happen, it can. Because let's be honest now, we can talk a lot about law of detachment,
but to practice it,
it's different. You know what I mean? And mind you, I struggle with this as well. In this different way. In different ways.
So this is where I think one of the practical tips come in.
Okay.
The 5 to 10 minute rule.
Okay.
I'm gonna give an example. When we filmed our first video.
Mm-hmm.
When I said in that first video, it was a struggle to get there, that was me using the power of the tongue, because that wasn't even the struggle. The struggle was to get it online. And when I say it took hours, days of editing, the whole thing, deleting, it was trials and tribulations. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I really could have let that situation own me. Okay. I could have. And like, I've never done this before, so I could have just said, it's enough. Imagine editing something for five hours and you can't upload it. Then you delete the videos and you can't. I could have let that situation own me, which I did. But I used the 5 to 10 minute rule, which is, we are normal humans. There's stuff in your life that you can shrug off, and there's some stuff that are generally going to make you sad. But I think to practice the law of detachment, you can give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to be sad about it. And then move on.
So, when we were coming to Albania, so you're supposed to check in like 24 hours or something before online. So as we got to the airport, we were trying to
2 hours before.
2 hours before. Basically, we didn't check in, and by the time we'd gone to like the counter to do the check-in, we were too late.
Too late by 3 minutes.
And then because of that, we had to pay
£200.
£200 in total. So it's £50 per person. So this is a disclaimer. I'm pretty sure people know, but if you're traveling,
please check in 2 hours before, especially if it's stuff like Ryanair, EasyJet, all of these people, they're trying to get money every way. But anyway,
so I guess in that moment, obviously we were all devastated,
sad,
really sad. My mum was just
giving 200 just like that for something that could have took. And I think the sad part is we could have checked in so many times before, but we're just doing other little stuff, which was pissing us off because we could have checked in then.
But yes, so exactly, we could have done all that. However, so I think what happens was, we had to pay. We were sad for a bit, but then I think, was it even you that was like telling my mum and aunt, like, we just have to let this L go. Like, let's not let it consume us. Let's not dwell too hard and be sad about it. And even my mum was on board, my aunt was on board, and was like, yes, you know what, this L that we've taken is gonna become a win somehow.
Some way.
And I would say it actually has, because when we got here, so you know how in hotels you usually have excursions and you have to pay for them. So
look at how they've now finessed. Yeah.
So for some reason the excursions here are really, really pricey. Like normally they're not this pricey, but like they had there was an
the original price was like £800, something, 800 euros for 2 days of shad.
Yeah,
it was just
this was for 4 of us,
expensive.
And then they were like, oh, we'll do a discount and make it 400, which I don't think that discount is even a real thing. But even for 400 euros for 4 people, and then even the places that were on the excursion, like,
we went to see it. We walked there. Like, come on now.
What my mum and my aunt have been doing, they've been speaking with locals. We've been speaking with locals. The locals
our
have been
mum and
filling
aunts
them
are
in.
really talkative.
Oh, they
talk to everybody.
Everyone's friend. friend.
Everybody's friend.
Yeah, everyone on the bus. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that.
They're probably famous right now.
Yeah, so they've been speaking with the locals, and the locals have been filling them in, telling them where to go, how to get there, using like the buses. We have been paying pennies to get to places where the excursion would have been like hundreds of euros or something.
And we've been having more of a great time.
Yes, and even experiencing the culture more, because we really
be
in the bus with them, not in a private car somewhere. So yeah, I guess what you're saying is like we just had to let go of that L.
Yeah. And we just had to enjoy the rest of the trip. Staying on a positive frequency allows you to attract positive things. If you let things own you, they have the ability to create negative emotions inside of you. And that's when you start detaching, like moving away from stuff that will benefit you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I feel like even just on a personal level, I don't know, I feel like everyone experiences this where sometimes things that you really hold on so tightly to, you almost end up losing. It's a really weird thing.
You lose that.
It's strange, and then something when you're not holding on so tight, it's like the thing even wants you more. Like what's
going on?
Yeah, and then even when I was doing my research on Law of Detachment, so these are things where you take an L and then you kind of have to let go.
You have to bounce back
ability. So I think a lot of it is also for the things that we want. So yes, L's can happen and we have to like kind of let go. But for me, when I was doing my research, a lot of it was about the things that we want to have and not holding on so tightly to those things or holding on to the outcome so tightly that it's like you could hold on to something tightly that we're not even aligned with.
It's true.
If that makes sense. When I did my research, it's not about you can't not want things. Of course you want things. You have goals. Those are all really, really important things. Of course, because we're humans. But I think it's like it's about the fear of maybe it not happening exactly the way you want it to, or the fear of that thing not working out. That kind of overtakes.
And do you know what fear is?
What's fear?
A negative emotion. Low down on that frequency chart. Having the fear bring it back up to the first episode. If you haven't watched the first episode, go back and watch the first episode. Fear is on that frequency chart, and it's a low emotion. Having the fear that it might go wrong, having anxiety that it might go wrong, worrying about the outcome. Low frequencies. You're only gonna attract low frequency stuff from that situation. Having faith that it could go right. So that's a good frequency.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It's It's all frequency.
All part of the emotional frequency.
I think that's pretty much it for Law of Detachment.
That is it.
What else can we go say?
But that is it. And I would say, I wanted to say two things real quickly before we move on. Just some practical tips. Journaling is a really good way to put stuff out of your mind and on a paper. There's lots of scientific evidence that backs up the power of journaling. And for those that say like it's a bit of a girly thing, it's not. Get a journal. Everyone should have a journal, and it's not for everyday journaling. Every day you write, what has happened to me today? This is not Zoe 101. What? I don't even know.
There was someone that used to write that journal.
Yes, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah, it will come to us.
Anyway, you can write on your journal, and it's a great way for bringing stuff into from your mental into the paper, and it allows you to be less worried about something. Because worrying, not very low of attachment, not giving very mindful, not very low of detachment at all. So put it on a paper. That's one thing. Journaling, 5-minute rule. And then the third thing that I want to say is finding hobbies for yourself. The more time you invest on yourself, doing stuff you like, doing creative stuff, it could be drawing, knitting, crocheting, joining a tennis club, doing a sport, whatever it is, doing stuff for yourself, the less time you have in the day to create negative emotions about stuff that's happened to you.
I co-sign the journaling so much. Like, I'm not journaling right now, but any time in my life where I'm kind of journaling actively, it's almost like a release.
It is. There's scientific proof about it's releasing. It removes. Please, apparently it moves from one cortex to another cortex when you're journaling. I don't know if it's and the cortex that it moves to is to do with emotional processing.
Yeah.
So honestly, journaling is the best. Like,
anytime I've been journaling,
it really helps.
It's been so helpful. I also like, some people do you know what it is? So Good Luck Charlie, she used to do video journal, but that's different.
Oh yeah,
she was giving advice to her little sister.
Jessie, that's the right one.
It's gonna come. But yeah, literally, like, any times where I've been journaling, it's just helped me so much processing and releasing and kind of even like working through it. It's like it's not stuck inside of you.
Yes,
sort of
Sissy.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the really good way to say it. Let it go.
Go.
The law of detachment, nothing is owned by you. Yes. Let it go.
And then what else did you say? You said about
hobbies.
Yes, I would say healthy. I wouldn't even say like packing your day so much, but I guess
not
like
packing
almost like
stuff.
Healthy outlets, healthy not even distractions, but healthy outlets.
But kind of distractions as well.
And healthy distractions, healthy outlets. Also, there was another this is maybe going off on a tangent slightly, but someone was talking about self-love. I know self-love is very cringy.
Self-love.
Sometimes it's cringy, but she was speaking about it in the sense you're maybe attached to like a person, when you might have this attachment to a person. When you're kind of filling yourself up, you become less, the tendency for you to want to really attach yourself to this person is a lot less, because you're kind of filling your own cup. You're loving on yourself. You're doing some of the ish that maybe you would want someone else to do. Yeah. You're doing it. And
or an experience that have an effect on you, or something else to bring you. You might not even be a person.
Yes, exactly. But because you're doing it kind of for yourself. It lessens. Not to say that you might still not fall into not practicing the law of detachment or wanting this thing or this experience or this person, but it definitely helps. Yeah.
So, just to round it up, should I round it up?
Yeah, let's round it up.
Just to round it up, the law of detachment means that you can have things, people, experiences, but don't let those things own you. And by own you means that it can affect your emotional state to the point that it can make you have negative emotions about that situation. Because once you start having negative emotions, you are now vibrating at a different lower frequency and attracting lower things. We're going to end up on a gentle reminder.
Okay, here's one of our quotes, which I feel like aligns well with the topic of law of detachment. And it says, "It absolutely does work out for you, and even better than expected."
Yeah, that was a really nice one.
That sums it up. That sums up the law of detachment. Let it go. It's going to work out.
And even better than expected. Thank you for watching our third podcast, and I hope you tune in for episode 4. See ya.